an assumption of its own goodness, the community readily shared that goodness. I used this tool repeatedly as I got older. As I approached new places, I sought first to understand. By honoring the worldview each community held, I could begin building meaningful relationships with its members. When I graduated from my middle-class public schools to the courtyards of intergenerational privilege at Princeton. When I ate lunch in the teacher's lounge in a Baton Rouge elementary school. When I stood in front of assemblies of 200 parents at the public schools I ran in central Los Angeles. When I sat down across from LGBTQ people at coffee shops in Peoria. This tool embedded itself deep in my psyche and in my approach over these years. Most fundamentally, using this tool has taught me how woven together we all are in this country. CEOs and senators at Princeton, black parents in Baton Rouge, immigrant families in Los Angeles, trans men and women in central Illinois. Over nearly 4 decades of moving and working around our country, I've learned that what underlies America's greatness is our commonness and our connectedness. Commonness and connectedness. What binds us together and makes us uniquely American. For most of the first half of my career, I worked with and on behalf of low-income families of color. We fought together to make sure their schools delivered on America's promise, that regardless of race or class or zip code, their children would be given an equal shot at opportunity. And then in 2009, in my early 30s, I accepted an offer to run a racially and socio-economically diverse public school in the heart of Hollywood. Here was a community that was among the most diverse in America, and our school reflected that. We had children of Oscar and Emmy nominees, television network presidents, and talent agents going to school with the children of immigrants whose parents didn't speak English. We held these communities in almost equal measure. Our student population was nearly half white and half children of color. Half of our students came from low-income families, and half came from middle- and upper-income families. Going into this work, I thought that my interactions with privileged families were going to be wildly different from those I had with low-income ones. While these two groups differed on the margins, and mostly in how they approached me and school leadership, their hopes and dreams were largely similar. Both sets of families cared most about whether their children were safe and loved. They focused on whether their children's unique potential for genius was sought out, valued, and developed. As I got to know these families better, I learned that it wasn't just how they approached their children's schooling that bound them in similarity, but so much more. I can honestly say, after having worked with thousands of families over nearly 2 decades, that I have never met a parent who didn't want better for their kid than they had. And nearly all were working hard, most in highly productive ways, a few in dysfunctional ways, to give their child this opportunity. This is what I mean by commonness. Regardless of race, class, ethnicity, profession, country of origin, native language, or religion, these parents were engaged in a shared struggle to make the lives of their children good and safe and vibrant. I don't mean to suggest some Pollyanna-ish view of the world here. Differences existed, meaningful ones. Some parents expected their children to be compliant. Others raised them to question authority. Some parents wanted limited academic expectations set for their children, while others preferred rigorous ones. Some viewed our teachers as contract employees who were expected to deliver a service the parents paid for.